In this video we will go over all the picks and method of victory predictions that I've tracked from the prediction channels on YouTube for every fight on UFC Macau. On this card we have a total of 13 fights and we start with the first fight of the night, which is in the women's strawweight division between Loma, Lookboonmee and Jaqueline Amorim. And both fighters are the same age and have a similar record, with 4 victories in a row over the last 5 fights but losing the last fight. And in average odds, which are taken from oddsjam.com, this fight is really close. And Jaqueline Amorim is the slight favorite with minus 125 and Loma Lookboonmee the underdog with plus 105. And also by the picks by the YouTube prediction channels, this fight is pretty close. But here Loma Lookboonmee is the favorite with 42 out of 80 picking her to win for 52.5%. And also the best predictors slightly favor the underdog Loma Lookboonmee to win with 5 out of 8. And the slight favorite in odds, Jaqueline Amorim, is picked by the best favorite predictors only 2 out of 8. And the slight underdog, Loma Lookboonmee, is picked by the best underdog predictors 6 out of 9, making her the favorite by the best underdog predictors. The best predictors are highlighted in green. The best favorite predictors have a little star icon in front of the name and the best underdog predictors a little dog icon in front of the name. And these channels have the highest return on investment over the last 50 events, with the best predictors for all of their picks, the best favorite predictors with their picks on favorite fighters and odds, and the best underdog predictors with their picks on underdogs. For more information and more pound for pound leaderboards, for example the 2026 leaderboards, check out my latest results video. A link can be found in the video description or at the end of this video. But I not only track winner picks, I also track method of victory predictions for each fight. And for this fight we only have 2 channels picking Loma Lookboonmee to win by KO or TKO. We have 16 channels picking Jaqueline Amorim to win via submission. But more than half of all the channels, 52.7%, are picking Loma Lookboonmee to win via decision, for 29 out of 55 channels. And we have 8 channels picking Jaqueline Amorim to win via decision. And the best MOV predictors, the channels which have the highest return on investment with all of their method of victory predictions, all 4 of them are picking Loma Lookboonmee to win via decision, which is also the most likely outcome according to the odds makers with average odds of plus 170. Up next we have a fight in the featherweight division between Kangjie and Rodrigo Vera. Kangjie is coming off 3 victories from Road to UFC and is now making his UFC debut. And his opponent, Rodrigo Vera, is also making his UFC debut. And in odds, this fight is super close and it's basically even, with minus 113 for Vera and minus 105 for Kangjie. But most of the YouTube prediction channels, 46 out of 77 for 60%, are going with Rodrigo Vera to win. The best predictors are split on this one and it's 4 out of 8 for both fighters. And the best favorite and underdog predictors are in line with the YouTube prediction channels. And they also favor Rodrigo Vera to win with 5 out of 8 for 62.5% and 6 out of 9 for 67%. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 4 channels predicting Kangjie to win by KO or TKO, and 2 channels are going with Rodrigo Vera via submission, but almost all of the channels are expecting that this fight will go to the scorecards, with 16 channels picking Kangjie to win, but most of the channels, 27 out of 49 for 55%, are picking Vera to win via decision. And for this fight we only had 3 of the best MOV predictors making a pick, and 2 out of 3 are picking Vera to win via decision. And unfortunately for this fight there were no method of victory odds available yet on oddsjam.com. Up next we have a fight in the women's strawweight division between Angela Hill and Xiong, or Happy Woman versus Angry Woman. And this will be Angela Hill's 30th fight in the UFC, and over the last 5 fights she has 3 losses and 2 victories. And Jingnan is making her UFC debut. And in average odds, the Angry Woman, Jingnan, is the favorite with minus 200, and with plus 160, the underdog is Angela Hill. In picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Jingnan is a pretty big favorite, and she is picked by 65 channels out of 79 for 82%. And she's also the big favorite in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite predictors with 7 out of 8 for 87.5%. And the underdog, Angela Hill, is only picked by 1 out of 9 of the best underdog predictors, so most of them are fading her. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 3 channels picking Jingnan by KO or TKO, 1 for Angela Hill via submission, but most of them are expecting that this fight will go to the scorecards, with 9 for Angela Hill and 45 out of 58 for over 75% picking Jingnan to win via decision. which is also picked by all 5 of the best MOV predictors, which is also the most likely outcome according to the odds makers with average odds of minus 115. The next fight is between Tsuruya and Gurule in the flyweight division. Tsuruya has 3 victories in road to UFC, and after that he fought 2 times in the UFC with 1 victory and 1 loss against Joshua Fan, the current champion of the flyweight division. And Gurule is making a super quick comeback because he fought only 2 weeks ago. He's coming off a victory from the Dana White Contender Series, but since joining the UFC he had 3 losses and 1 victory, which was 2 weeks ago. And Tsuruya is the favorite with minus 235 and with plus 190 Gurule, the underdog. In picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Tsuruya is a pretty big favorite and he's picked by 60 out of 73 channels for 82%. But he's even a bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors, because all of them, 7 out of 7, are picking Tsuruya to win. And he's also the big favorite in picks by the best favorite and underdog predictors, with 6 out of 7 for 85.7% and 7 out of 8 for 87.5%. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 2 channels picking Tsuruya to win by KO or TKO, 9 pick him to win and mission, but most of the channels, 33 out of 52 for 63.5%, are picking him to win via decision. And we have 8 picking Gurule via decision. And the best method of victory predictors, 3 out of 4 are picking Tsuruya via decision, which is also the most likely outcome according to the odds makers with odds of plus 150. Then we go to the bantamweight division for a fight between Aoriqileng and Cody Haddon. Over his last 5 fights, Aoriqileng has 2 victories, 2 losses and 1 no contest. And Cody Haddon has 1 victory in the Dana White Contender Series and 1 in the UFC. And in this matchup, Cody Haddon is the big favorite with minus 365 and with plus 290, Aoriqileng is the big underdog. And also in picks, Cody Haddon is a huge favorite. 73 channels out of 79 for 92% are picking him to win. And the best predictors agree, because all of them, 8 out of 8 for 100% are picking Cody Haddon. And the same with the best favorite predictors, also 8 out of 8 for 100%. And the underdog, Aoriqileng, is picked by none of the best underdog predictors. So looks to be a rough night for Aoriqileng. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 1 channel picking Aoriqileng via KO or TKO and 12 for Cody Haddon. 7 channels are picking Cody via submission, and for a decision we have 1 for Aoriqileng, but most of the channels, 33 out of 54 for over 60%, are going with a decision victory for Cody Haddon. And also the best MOV predictors are expecting a decision victory for Cody Haddon with 3 out of 4 for 75%. And the odds makers agree, because they give a decision victory plus 160, but it's followed pretty close for a KO TKO victory with plus 200. Up next we have 2 fighters making their UFC debut, and we have Meng versus José Henrique in the welterweight division. And both of these fighters are coming off a loss from the Dana White Contender Series. Meng lost in 2024 and José Henrique in 2022. And this is the 3rd fight on this card that is really close in odds. Meng is a slight favorite with minus 120 and with plus 100. The underdog is José Henrique. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, this fight is not close at all. And Meng is the big favorite and he's picked by 67 out of 79 channels for 85%. And he's also a big favorite in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite predictors with 7 out of 8 for 87.5%. And the slight underdog, José Henrique, is picked by the best underdog predictors only 1 out of 9. So very interesting to see how much the odds makers and the YouTube prediction channels disagree on this fight. And for the method predictions, most channels are picking Meng to win by KO or TKO, which is picked by 43 channels out of 56 for over 75%. No one is predicting that this fight will end in a submission, and for a decision victory we have 5 for Meng and 4 for José Henrique. And the best method of victory predictors, 4 out of 5 for 80% are going with a Meng KO TKO, which has odds of plus 150, making it the most likely outcome according to the odds makers. And for the future prelim of the night, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Jaqueline and Luis Felipe Diaz. Lee is making his UFC debut and Diaz has a victory in the Dana White Contender Series. And Diaz is the favorite with minus 175 and with plus 145, Jaqueline is the underdog. But in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Diaz is a much bigger favorite because he's picked by 66 out of 78 channels for 85%. And he's also a pretty big favorite in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite predictors with 6 out of 8 for 75%. And the underdog Yisak Lee is picked by the best underdog predictors only 1 out of 9. So they don't have a lot of faith in this underdog. And for the method of victory predictions, 2 are picking Lee to win by KO or TKO and 6 for Diaz. One channel picked Lee via submission, but most of the channels are going with a Diaz submission victory, which is picked by 40 out of 55 channels for 73%. And for a decision, we have 3 for Lee and also 3 for Diaz. And the best method of victory predictors, 3 out of 4 are also going with a submission victory for Diaz. And with odds of plus 220, it is the most likely outcome according to the odds makers as well. Opening up the main card, we have a fight in the flyweight division between Alex Perez and Sumudaerji. Alex Perez has 2 victories and 3 losses over his last 5 fights, and Sumudaerji 2 losses and is now on a 3-fight winning streak. And the favorite fighter in odds in this matchup is Alex Perez with minus 145 and Sumudaerji the underdog with plus 120. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Alex Perez is also the favorite. He's picked by 55 channels out of 83 for 66%. And he's also the favorite in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite predictors with 5 out of 8 for 62.5%. And the underdog Sumudaerji is picked by the best underdog predictors 4 out of 10. So some of them like this underdog. And for the method predictions, we have 9 channels going with a KO TKO for Alex Perez and 1 for Sumudaerji. 14 channels are picking Perez to win via submission and 1 for Sumudaerji. And 14 channels are going with a decision victory for Alex Perez and 17 for Sumudaerji. And unfortunately, most of the best method of victory predictors didn't make a clear method of victory prediction or a prediction at all. So we only have 2 channels and both of them are going with a submission, but one for Alex Perez and the other for Sumudaerji. And according to the odds makers, a decision victory is the most likely outcome for this fight, with plus 260 for Alex Perez and plus 280 for Sumudaerji. The next fight is in the welterweight division between Jake Matthews and Carlston Harris. And over their last 5 fights, Jake Matthews has 3 victories and 2 losses, and Carlston Harris 3 losses and 2 victories. And in this matchup, the favorite, or the very big favorite, is Jake Matthews with average odds of minus 345, and Carlston Harris is the underdog with plus 270. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, well, Jake Matthews is a huge favorite. He's picked by 77 channels out of 81 for 95%. And he's picked 100% by the best predictors, but also by the best favorite and underdog predictors with 8 out of 8, 8 out of 8 and 10 out of 10. So it looks to be a very rough night for Carlston Harris. The only question that remains is by which method of victory are they predicting Jake Matthews to win. And most of the channels, 25 out of 56 for 45%, are predicting a KO TKO victory for Jake Matthews. 8 are predicting him to win via submission, and also a lot of channels are predicting he will win via decision with 23 out of 56. And the best MLV predictors feel the exact same way, with 2 out of 5 picking Jake Matthews to win by a KO TKO and 2 out of 5 also via decision, which is also in line with the odds makers, because in odds the most likely outcome is a KO TKO victory with plus 210, followed very closely by a decision victory with plus 225. The next fight is in the bantamweight division between Kai Asakura and Smotherman. Kai Asakura has 2 fights in the UFC and lost both of them via submission. And Cameron Smotherman lost on the Dana White Contender Series, then he won his first fight in the UFC, but since then he has 2 losses in the UFC. And in this matchup, Kai Asakura is the big favorite with minus 295 versus plus 235 for Cameron Smotherman. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, we have another huge favorite in Kai Asakura, who is picked by 76 channels out of 82 for 93%. And just like the previous fight with Jake Matthews, also Kai Asakura is picked 100% by the best predictors, the best favorite and underdog predictors with 8 out of 8, 8 out of 8 and 10 out of 10. And for the method of victory predictions, most of the channels are going with a KO TKO victory for Kai Asakura, which is picked by 46 channels out of 60 for over 75%. And one channel has picked Cameron Smotherman by KO or TKO. None of the channels are expecting that this fight will end in a submission, And for decision victory we have 9 for Kai Asakura and 4 for Smotherman. And the best MOV predictors, most of them 4 out of 5 are going with a KO TKO victory for Kai Asakura. So in odds and especially in picks looks to be a rough night for Smotherman. Up next we go to the heavyweight division for a fight between Sergei Pavlovich and Tallison Teixeira. Sergei has 3 victories and 2 losses over his last 5 fights, and Teixeira came off a victory from the Dana White Contender Series and has 2 victories and 1 loss in the UFC. And in odds the favorite fighter is Sergei Pavlovich, and he's a huge favorite and even the biggest favorite on this card with minus 595. And Tallison Teixeira is the big underdog with plus 440. And just like the previous 2 fights, we have another huge favorite in picks in Sergei Pavlovich, because he's picked by 80 out of 84 channels for 95%. And just like the previous 2 fights, all of the best predictors are again on one side. And Sergei Pavlovich is picked 100% by the best predictors and the best favorite and underdog predictors with 8 out of 8, 8 out of 8 and 10 out of 10. And also for the method of victory, it's pretty one-sided, because most of the channels, 60 out of 66, are going with a KO TKO victory for Pavlovich. And we have 4 channels picking him to win via decision and 2 are predicting a decision victory for Teixeira. And all of the best MOV predictors are predicting a KO TKO victory for Sergei Pavlovich. And with odds of minus 270, that's the most likely outcome, also according to the odds makers. For the co-main event of the evening, we have a fight in the light heavyweight division between Xiong Ming and Alonso Manifield. Xiong Ming came off a victory from the Dana White Contender Series. After that he had 3 victories in the UFC but lost his last fight. And Alonso Manifield, over his last 5 fights, he has 3 losses, all by KO TKO and 2 victories via decision. And in this matchup, Xiong Ming is a pretty big favorite with average odds of minus 255 versus plus 205 for Alonso Manifield, who is the underdog. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, we again have another very big favorite in Xiong Ming. And he's picked by 77 out of 85 for 91%. But he's not picked 100% like the previous 3 fights by the best predictors, because they pick him 7 out of 8 for 87.5%. And the best predictors of favorite fighters and odds pick him 6 out of 8 for 75%. And the underdog Alonso Manifield is picked by the best underdog predictors 2 out of 10. And for the method of victory predictions, almost all of the channels are expecting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO, with most of the channels picking Xiong Ming with 60 out of 64 for 94%. And 2 channels are going with Alonso Manifield KO TKO victory, one is picking him via submission and another one is picking him via a decision. And 4 out of 5 of the best MOV predictors are picking Xiong Ming via KO or TKO, which is also the most likely outcome according to the odds makers with average odds of minus 150. And for the main event of the evening, we have a fight in the bantamweight division between Song Yadong and Deiveson Figueiredo. And over the last 5 fights, Song Yadong has 2 losses and 3 victories, and Deiveson Figueiredo 3 losses and 2 victories. And the favorite fighter in odds is Song Yadong, who is a huge favorite with minus 580. And Deiveson Figueiredo, the big underdog, with plus 425. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, well, the God of War, Deiveson Figueiredo, is now the God of no picks, because all 84 channels are picking Song Yadong to win. Which of course also means he's picked 100% by the best predictors and the best favorite and underdog predictors with 8 out of 8, 8 out of 8 and 10 out of 10. So the only question that remains is by which method of victory is he going to defeat Deiveson, God of no picks, Figueiredo. And exactly half of all the channels with 30 out of 60 are picking Song Yadong to win by KO or TKO. No one is picking him to win via submission, and the other 30 channels are picking him to win via decision for 50%. So it's completely even between a KO TKO or a decision victory. But what about the best method of victory predictors? Well, here it's not even, and 3 out of 4 for 75% are going with a decision victory for Song Yadong. And the odds makers are pretty much in line. It's also very close between a KO TKO victory with plus 115 and a decision victory with plus 135. So the main card, and especially the last 5 fights, we see a lot of huge favorites in picks and in odds. And out of those last 5 fights, who do you think has the biggest chance for a big upset? Let us know in the comments. What are some of the best betting opportunities on this card? So, fighters that are picked a lot by the best predictors but still have decent value. And for now, I've seen a lot of great betting opportunities on this card. And I've got a total of 5 for you. But keep in mind, over the next coming days I keep tracking predictions and things might look different when I've tracked more predictions from the best predictors, the best favorite and underdog predictors and the best method of victory predictors. And if you want to get access to these daily updated picks whilst supporting the channel, consider becoming a member on my Patreon. A link to my Patreon can be found in the video description or at the end of this video. The first best betting opportunity is the underdog Loma Lookboonmee with plus 105. Despite being the underdog, she is the favorite in picks by the best predictors with 5 out of 8 and the best underdog predictors 6 out of 9 for 67%. But what's also very nice is that all of the best MOV predictors are also picking Loma Lookboonmee to win via decision, which at this moment has odds of plus 170, which is of course better than the plus 105 moneyline odds. For the next best betting opportunity we have Xiong Jingnan, the angry woman, who could make you happy if you bet on her and she wins. She is the favorite with minus 200 but is a big favorite in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite predictors with 7 out of 8 for 87.5%. And all of the best method of victory predictors are expecting that she will win via decision, which gives you odds of minus 115, which is better than the minus 200 moneyline odds. For the next best betting opportunity we have Tsuruya, or however you say his name. He is a pretty decent favorite with minus 235 but is picked 100% by the best predictors and 6 out of 7 by the best favorite predictors. Most of the best MOV predictors, 3 out of 4 for 75%, are picking him to win via decision, which gives you plus money odds of plus 150. And the next best betting opportunity is the one I like the most, because in odds this fight is almost even with minus 120 for Meng. But he is a huge favorite in picks by the best predictors but also the best favorite and underdog predictors with 7 out of 8 and 8 out of 9. And what makes it extra nice is that also all of the best method of victory predictors are picking him to win. And most of them, 4 out of 5, pick him via KO or TKO, which gives plus money odds of plus 150 compared to the minus 120 moneyline odds. And for the fifth and final best betting opportunity we have Asakura. He was one out of 4 fighters on the main card that was picked 100% by the best predictors and the best favorite and underdog predictors. But compared to the other fighters that were picked 100%, he has the best odds with minus 295. But instead of going for that, you can get plus money of plus 115 if you have him winning by a KO or TKO, which is picked by 4 out of 5 of the best method of victory predictors. That was it for the overview video for UFC Macau. A card with close fights but also with very big favorites, especially on the main card and in between. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And to get access to the daily updated picks and supporting the channel, check out my Patreon. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend and enjoy the fights.